welcome back to Big Data and Brews. Today with Antonio Piccolboni. No, I didn't say that.
Close.
Close?
Close. My mom would recognize me.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself and your brew?
Okay, so my name is Antonio Piccolboni, just so that other people recognize me. This is Honey and Sons English breakfast, classic tea. And I want to not only show that I'm more sober than all your other guests, not only have to drive right after this talk, but having a green card and DUIs don't go well together.
I did have the same problem. People always ask me, so why don't you drink and drive? Don't drink and drive. And I'm like, I have a green card, and it's it's a crime. And if you do a crime, you have problems with your green card.
It's of course a crime for everybody, and we're not encouraging that. But we could be on a plane really quickly. Directed to our own countries. That's a point. Yeah.
But it's really comfortable in California. How long are you in California?
14 years.
14 years. Oh, okay. Well, twice as long as I am.
Yeah. Well, it will take me a lot longer to build my first company, but
yeah. Well, so you're Italian.
Uh-huh.
What brought you to the US?
Well, when my friend who lives in Sunnyvale took me around the Silicon Valley the first time and showed me, this is Apple, this is HP. And they told me, this is like bringing a priest to the Vatican. This is the place to be. Italy doesn't have really a software industry. Mm-hmm. One of my professors actually is running the largest software company there. You've never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's very local in character, and the opportunities are not that great. Mm-hmm. The country has not been doing incredibly well economically, but at that time I didn't have the ability to see the future. I just saw that there wasn't a lot going on for people like me, and I should look outside. So.
Yeah, but the wine and the beer is much better, right? Not in the US, but wouldn't you agree? Wine,
in Italy?
Yeah.
Wine, yes, I come from a winemaking area. There's the hills around my
beautiful
parents' house in 1 hour west of Venice.
Okay, wow.
Near Verona. So I was thinking about bringing, I found a local wine here. I was thinking about bringing that as a different brew, but again, driving with that thing in would be hard.
We do this next time. So let me set up the tea, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your kind of professional history and experience and what you're doing today.
It all started almost randomly by interest in internal events. I ended up working in bioinformatics. That was a little bit of a random event, but that was also quite promising at that time. That's what brought me to the States through different fellowships and whatnot related to that research. So I came on the academic path.
So our CTO has a bioinformatics background too, and I think the most real data scientists I actually met have a bioinformatic background, because it's very algorithmic heavy, right? You do, the whole DNA sequencing is obviously a big data problem if you really calculate the whole thing. What was your specialty in the whole bioinformatic thing?
I think I went I made the choice to help the experimentalists. So I initially studied just a fundamental problem regarding proteins, because that was look good on my PhD dissertation. But then I went into mass spectrometry and then microarrays, which means two of the most powerful technologies in experimental molecular biology. So the idea was to have people, store and process and analyze those massive amount of data that came out of those two technologies. They're kind of interesting in general purpose. You can use them to look at different aspects, different kinds of molecules and different kind of processes in the body and in tissues. Mm-hmm. So it was. On the other hand, I think if young bioinformaticians are listening to this, there's a word of caution, because this technology change very quickly, so it's hard to base a career on a specific experimental technology. Just they come and go. The big never everlasting themes of bioinformatics research are related to biology, not to the machines that study biology. Evolution, the study of evolution will be with us for decades at least. So those are the big themes that you should go into. And there's lots of competition too. Those attract really the best and the brightest. But you can imagine, we are going to have thousands or 10,000 genomes of different species, not in the distant future, and then we'll try to go back in evolution as far as possible. And the more species, the more variety you have, the further back you can reasonably go. So it's it's this kind of a algorithmic time machine. It's very fascinating, and so there's a lot of competition, and absolutely the best people are converging onto those eternal problems.
So, is that what already brought you to Hadoop and to R, or what are the steps that got you where you are today?
Well, we had the need of Hadoop. I remember we had this 200 machine node cluster already in 2004. It was big for a biotech in those times, and my group owned specifically 2 file servers that were just outside the server room, and the two things were separate. The software was separate, the hardware was separate, the room was different, and there was a cable in the middle, and the cable was the problem, not the solution, right? And so we would start the computation, and the server would die on us. I mean, almost deterministically, and so we started thinking, why don't mix the two things? And there were people who were alerting me to this stuff. Hadoop was coming up, and I read about it, but I was a little too extreme for a biotech to go with 0.16 at that time or something we had. And so I kind of got tired of doing a little bit of shoddy computing because I was in a biotech, and so biology was more important. And a friend of mine from that company went to Quantcast. I have to tell you that
very, very early adopter of Hadoop,
very early. So I would say the job search, trying to go from the biotech to web industry, is not the easiest step in your career. Because they have an idea what people are doing in biotechs. And but this friend of mine went to Quantcast. He made a splash there. It was really good. So they say, well, we'll get more of those. Do you have more of those? And so I joined Quantcast, and
cool.
And Ron Balke interviewed me, and I remember, among other people, and I remember they asked me, how much data do you see every year? How much data do you see in general? And I said just 1.5 terabytes per year. And they look at me and they say, we have 4 terabytes of data every day. And then I thought, that's it. I never get the job. Instead, they let me in, and so I started working on Hadoop, and I think it was 0.16, and trying to cobble together some algorithms. And we were doing web ratings. It was my project. Try to get better web ratings.
Nice. Yeah, Ron now has its own company called Think Big Analytics, I think, right?
Yep.
So definitely, Quantcast brought a whole. It was kind of a breeding area for big data experts, kind of, because they very early adopter, first of Nudge, then of Hadoop, right? And definitely, so I remember that I heard this story that the Facebook team was invited to Quantcast, and then they kind of like, oh, so Hadoop, we never heard about this, and Hammerbacher and so on got a little tour from Ron and folks there, and that was kind of the initial step how Facebook actually got hooked on the whole Hadoop thing, and then they built a Hive and those kind of things. Do you involved in that kind of story, or?
No, not with Facebook, but I can't believe it. I mean, there was a certain attitude, that we're smarter than everybody else at Quantcast, and they would say, it's negative, as I say, and it had some negative aspects, but they didn't have any problems changing the guts of Hadoop. And they let you. Actually, I made some modification.
Why not?
Not deep, but then I saw that actually I was trying to have generics work better with it, and I saw that eventually somebody picked it up in the community and did it much better than I actually tried to do it. But so yeah, it was very experimental, and they were replacing all components, and really yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons why it was breeding ground. It wasn't like a black box, you don't touch it. It's 0.16, okay, so we can touch everything. Yeah, we can even make it better, maybe.
I think you even wrote your own file system, right? Or to heavily change that, if I remember. Back then?
The higher guy who had done a file system, the name I have the file system.
KFS?
KFS, correct.
Right. And then you guys running KFS and HDFS in parallel for some time, I remember, right?
Yeah.
But that must be in 2000, what, 5, 6 maybe?
6, 7, I think 7 I left, so yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, time is running. So what are you doing today? And, tell us a little bit more about your open source project and your day-to-day involvement.
Yeah,
but let's make sure the brew is good. Actually, I will take some soy cream as well. Are you vegan or into soy? Okay. Well, right. Let's see.
Prost.
Cheers. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a different brew than usually, but it's still good. It's definitely will make me wake up a little bit.
Yeah, don't drink too fast.
Yeah. I will make too many jokes then if I get hooked on the caffeine, tinine.
So yeah, I have my own micro consultancy, and I've been working a lot with evolution analytics. And what I like particularly is that we have an open source project, and we are combining R and Hadoop. So I thought, once I turn the threshold of 40, I got to do something interesting before I get age discriminated by the valley, right? And so I put one leg on R and one leg of Hadoop, and I think that will, if I can sell myself as an expert and have some recognition as an expert in the combination of the two, I can survive age discrimination till retirement ensues.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, being open source, not only that's a little bit of it's nice to return to the community, and you use so much open source now. It's nice to contribute a little bit, but there's a really an important egoistic motive, which is your code is out there. So the next time you need to find a job, you say just go and look what I've done. We have real users, and the code is in production already, used by other consultancy in production in top companies. So it's not a joke; it's real code, and you can see the style. Before, I remember I had my portfolio of code that I could share was limited 6 pages, because it was all proprietary. And so that's a problem, because what we do is code, and it has to be out there. There's no two ways around it. You can go and do the interview lottery, but that's
interview lottery, exactly.
It's never worked with me. I have to tell you, just I don't know. I've done it from both sides. I think it's a very difficult, low probability exercise.
Yeah. We will do a short break and come back in the next, I guess, show.